Liam had great affection for his wife. It is worth noting that his feelings were completely mutual. Even after 6 years of living together, the flame of passion between them did not fade. On the contrary, it only intensified. In short, life was just wonderful. Friends thought they were the perfect couple. However, there was one thing that marred their happiness: the absence of children. Despite the fact that they spent a lot of time together, for about 2 years they actively tried to have a child, but all efforts were in vain. Liam wasn't too troubled by this, believing that they had plenty of time ahead. His primary focus was on growing his business. He was convinced that once he achieved his professional goals, he could turn his attention to starting a family. On the other hand, Harper was increasingly anxious about not having a child. She yearned for motherhood and frequently sought medical advice. At one point, she even convinced Liam to get tested. However, he shrugged it off, confident that everything was perfectly fine. It just wasn't the right time for an heir, so why stress over it? He believed that everything would unfold in its own time. Time passed. Harper decided to take a break and headed off to a spa retreat outside the city. She explained to Liam that she felt worn out from her worries and needed some time alone to recharge her nerves. Liam, absorbed in planning a significant project, was perfectly fine with this. After all, he was the one managing all the family's financial responsibilities. Since Liam earned a comfortable living, there was really no need for his wife to work, and he was more than happy to cater to all her desires. Harper had set off on her getaway. She frequently called Liam, and they stayed connected through social media. 2 weeks later, they were finally back together, celebrating the end of her spa retreat. Nestled against his shoulder, Harper dreamily asked, "What if today's the day we make a baby? Do you want a girl or a boy?" Liam just smiled, avoiding a direct answer. He had grown accustomed to his wife's musings about parenthood and didn't think much of them. "If it happens, we'll raise it together. Now get some rest. I love you dearly." About a month passed. One morning, Liam was jolted awake by the sight of his Harper racing around the room, squealing with excitement. When he asked what was going on, she handed him a positive pregnancy test. "Congratulations, you're going to be a father soon," she whispered gently. Liam was taken aback, honestly shocked. He hadn't expected this to happen so quickly, and an uneasy feeling settled in as he realized he wasn't sharing her enthusiasm. Harper took her pregnancy very seriously, constantly visiting doctors, taking vitamins, and undergoing tests. The novelty of her condition consumed her thoughts. Meanwhile, Liam felt a strange disconnect. It was as if there were two separate worlds, Harper with her pregnancy, and him, immersed in his business. He started to worry that she might have fallen out of love with him. After all, his beloved Harper had shown little interest in intimacy lately. Time went on, and Harper was now about 6 months pregnant. The ultrasound revealed they were expecting a son. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. Business was thriving, and a baby boy was on the way. Yet Liam couldn't shake off a peculiar feeling. He found himself questioning why he wasn't looking forward to the arrival of this child. What was wrong with him? It felt as if he wasn't really going to be a father. Meanwhile, Harper seemed to sense his detachment and began to withdraw. She was becoming a stranger to him, anxious and preoccupied with something that remained unspoken. Why was this happening? After all, everything was as she had hoped. Lately, Harper had a worn-out look about her. She appeared frazzled and exhausted, often expressing that her pregnancy was taking a toll on her. Her concerns about the baby's health weighed heavily on her. Just when it seemed like their challenges might continue down this path, an unexpected incident occurred. Harper wasn't feeling well, and the heat wave was wearing her out. Out of the blue, her mother called, inviting her to stroll through some children's shops. Without hesitation, Harper packed her things and left. Liam decided to take a quick nap. As he leaned over the bed, he noticed Harper's phone, which she had forgotten in her haste. She's becoming so absent-minded, he thought, planning to call his mother-in-law to check in. Suddenly, a message popped up on the screen. Liam glanced at it without thinking and was taken aback by its content. "If this is my child, I want to raise him." The phone slipped from his grip as shock washed over him. He was at a loss for words, grappling with the revelation. Just then, Harper returned. Wordlessly, Liam showed her the message on the screen. "What's this?" he asked, his voice tight with disbelief. Harper tried to brush it off, claiming it was a mistake, but he found it hard to accept such a coincidence. He threatened to confront the message's sender. After a tense silence, Harper finally relented, revealing a truth that was nothing short of astonishing. It turned out that after Liam had his infertility test, Harper went to pick up the results. The doctor informed her that it was Liam who was unable to have children in their relationship. She added that even IVF wouldn't be an option. The issue lay in Liam's impaired sperm. Harper was devastated. Her dreams of motherhood crumbled before her eyes. She loved her husband dearly and had no desire to jeopardize their marriage. So she chose to keep this shocking revelation from him. In her despair, she concocted a brilliant plan. Using a friend's profile, she signed up on a dating site. Her goal was to find a man who resembled her husband. After 10 days of searching, she found someone. Ethan was younger than Liam, but shared similar traits. A tall, blue-eyed, brown-haired guy. He seemed charming enough and was not looking for anything serious, which suited Harper perfectly. Under the radar, she arranged a getaway with Ethan. It was during this trip to the sanatorium that she spent intimate moments with him. Harper convinced her lover that she was on birth control pills, and he took her at her word. 2 weeks flew by in a whirlwind of romance, and a month later, she excitedly told Liam that he was going to be a father. Everything seemed to be falling into place until a couple of months later when Ethan unexpectedly spotted Harper on the street. He had thoroughly enjoyed their time together and felt disappointed that she hadn't wanted to pursue anything further. However, when he noticed her baby bump, something shifted inside him. He instinctively sensed that this was his child. Ethan began seeking a way to meet Harper again. He needed answers. If the baby was indeed his, he was ready to step up. The age gap of 5 years didn't bother him. He was genuinely drawn to her. And so, the truth unraveled. Liam was adamant. He refused to raise another man's child. In his eyes, the infertility test results were a mistake, and he believed that their time for parenthood was still ahead of them. Once the baby was born, he went to court to prove he was not the father, determined to distance himself from this unexpected reality. Ethan, on the other hand, was eager to take responsibility and support the child. Yet, Harper was in a state of despair. She couldn't fathom how her family had fallen apart. Although she had allowed Ethan to see the baby, she felt no love for him. He was simply a means to an end. As fate would have it, any deception eventually comes to light. This situation serves as a reminder to always strive for honesty with those you hold dear.